Thicker Than Water is basically a hood movie that I could watch all day long. I love this movie because it has such a chill ass vibe to it, man. Like Mac 10 and Fat Joe, they the two main characters. We kind of see a split between them. They're from two different gangs, two different hoods. And spoilers, if you ain't seen these movies, there's gonna be some spoilers in it. But I'm just talking about my favorite hood movies. Now, this movie, Thicker Than Water, I found this on YouTube, and most of the hood movies I've watched, I found on YouTube. So this was one of the ones I found back when I was younger. They've taken it down and put it back up multiple times, but I remember watching it, I want to say when I was like 19. And the little twist at the end is like a really good little twist. But it basically is just two niggas that live in the hood. You know what I'm saying? They're from different walks of life, and they start out being two niggas that are from different sets, different gangs. You know what I'm saying? Fat Joe is from New York, but he moved down there where Mac 10 lives. You know what I'm saying? And they have a little beef at first because this man Mac 10, he got about two or three bras that he messing with, and he goes to the hood, to their hood, to the other hood to go mess with one of his other chicks. He literally has one of his women drop him off so he can go mess with another woman. And the woman that drops him off is a hood chick. But the woman that whose house he went to in the other hood is like a smart chick, a chick that he low key feels like he might want to marry. But the one that drove him over here, the hood chick, she just one of his hoes or whatever. And what ends up happening is basically, he goes and chills with her a little bit. He ends up walking down the street like he walking back to his own hood, waiting for his other girl to pick him up. And Fat Joe's little gang sees him outside. So Fat Joe went inside talking to his woman and stuff. But these other niggas are sitting on the porch. They catch him and they whoop his butt, take him to the back. And Fat Joe is like, what's going on, bro? He comes to the back because they take him to the back and they squabbling and beating him up and doing this extra stuff, nigga stuff. And Fat Joe is like, what's going on? He walks back there. He's like, what y'all doing? And he's like, man, this nigga just walking around acting like this is his hood or something. And he's like, let that nigga go, man. He's like, man, let that nigga go. He's like, why y'all doing this all in my backyard, my girl here and all that? And he's like, man, all right, man. So they end up letting him go. And, these are the dark skinned niggas, so they on some extra time or whatever. But they end up letting bro go. And then bro ends up seeing later on he wants to make some music because they both want to make music. And he ends up seeing them at the freaking at the studio that they go to. And what happens is, Fat Joe's his gang already there, and we end up seeing Ice Cube and stuff. And Ice Cube is with Mac 10. He works at that's where he goes to get extra guns or whatever because he had left his gun. So he ends up going there to get guns, and then he goes to the studio, and Ice Cube goes with him. And then Fat Joe comes outside, and he's like, let that nigga go. It's all good, bro. Because he let him go last time. He's like, I know they big homie or whatever. And that kind of happens like 2 or 3 times in a movie. And one thing I freaking love about hood movies like this is how much extra stuff be going on. So they end up meeting each other. Because with hood movies, it could be like 3 different movies in one. And what I really love about this movie is it starts out as them being like, from rival gangs, and then they eventually start being cool. Because one of them is, they end up seeing each other at this little event or whatever. And then they talk a little bit, and he's like, what's up, bro, or whatever. And they on some chill stuff, because they let each other slide. So they ain't really, them personally, those two ain't got no beef, And there's something about them that feels familiar. It's like they see each other in each other. That's why they ain't kill each other. You know what I'm saying? It's something familiar about it, and it ends up coming up at the end of the movie. But that ends up happening. We see them, and then they end up sitting in the car together, listening to each other's music, and they decide to, that they want to work together, and, it is what it is. And while all the other gang members or whatever is on some BS, these two are like becoming real partners. Like they really hella tight and really hella cool, and they really trust each other like they know each other. And then we get a little cameo from my boy Big Pun, rest in peace. Because they end up working for this like drug lord kind of dude, and they end up constantly traveling back and forth from where he lives to where they live to get some money and whatever. And then one of the drug lord's homies, he turns on them and tries to kill them, and then the drug lord finds out and then kills him. It's a chill little story. It's like weird because it's like it's action, but it's like the vibe of the movie is so chill and relaxed, but there is action like that. And then they end up going to New York. We end up seeing Big Pun. They start getting more drugs, and it's just kind of like this ongoing thing. And then it escalates, and it's crazy because they end up getting chased by Mac 10's ex-girlfriend. The one that the hood one ends up wanting to kill this nigga now. And it literally is funny because it really is like, it feel like it's low key like trying to be Rush Hour but Friday at the same time, but it works hella good. Like it's one of those movies that has such a chill vibe. I could just constantly rewatch it over and over again. So for me personally, when it comes to the vibe of the movie, I give this movie a 10 out of 10 because I just love the vibe of it. I love movies I can keep rewatching over and over again. So this is one of the most underrated hood classic movies I've ever seen in my life, and I feel like most people haven't even seen it. But it's one of my favorite ones, so that's one of my top ones. The next one too, now y'all all know this one is Juice. Now Juice, me and Juice have a little history too, because when I was 18, chilling upstairs in my room, you know what I'm saying, I was the senior in college in the prime of my life, I was still skinny and shit, nigga. I saw Juice on YouTube. I'm telling you, all the classes I saw on YouTube, they were all on YouTube. Before this copyright nonsense, bro, they were on YouTube. And I remember watching Juice on there and being blown away by how, Bishop Tupac's character was so freaking crazy. Because, it literally starts out as a chill movie where it's just four homies hanging out in the hood. You know what I'm saying? We got Omar Epps' character. He messing with an older chick. This nigga's 17. He got a girlfriend that's 24. She fine as hell. You know what I'm saying? He wants to do his little DJ thing. We got Steel. He's a fat dude. He love to eat like eggs and ham and stuff. And 9 times out of 10, when the boys don't want to go to school, they go chill at Steel's house. Then we got what's the light skinned dude's name? There's a light skinned dude. I can't remember his name. Is it Raheem? I think it's Raheem. They end up hanging out with Raheem or whatever. That's like their leader is a light skinned dude named Raheem. He got a kid. He got a dark skinned baby mama. And then we got Bishop, which is Tupac. He played by Tupac Shakur or whatever. And they a vibe. They always chilling. They be cutting class, going to the arcade, playing old school Street Fighter and stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's a chill little vibe. But then this nigga Tupac, it's like constantly every time they out and about, there's this rival gang with this kind of gayish Puerto Rican dude. Because he be saying the most sus stuff I've ever heard in my life. And they always constantly getting clowned by this dude every time. And Tupac is going through these mental issues, bro, where he's just getting tired of getting played all the time. He's getting tired of people clowning him all the time and making him look like a punk, One thing that I forgot to mention that I really like about this movie is I like how the movie shows us all the kids getting ready for school in the morning time. Like we see all the different perspectives of all 4 of the characters, getting up in the morning and getting dressed and stuff like that. I really like how they did that at the beginning of the movie. And it plays, the movie plays, what's his name? What is his name, bro? It plays Big Daddy Kane's music. And this movie also has some, what's it called? Rakim's music too. And, some of the good old school 80s, 90s rappers. So we hear like that in the morning time and stuff. And I remember really sitting in my bed and really being hella invested in this movie, bro. And then it was crazy because it gets halfway through the movie. They end up seeing the dude that plays Otis in The Temptations. We end up seeing him in like this, he's about to rob like a restaurant or something. And Bishop is trying to join in or whatever. And Q is Omar Epps' character. He tells him no. And he's like, man, we in there. He's like, nah, bro, let's go. And it just pisses Tupac off and he just snaps. And then basically the whole movie switches from being a cool, chill little hood movie to literally being a horror movie. I mean, the music feels like a horror movie. It feels like I'm watching Halloween or like Friday the 13th or one of those movies. I remember watching it as a kid. I wasn't scared of it, but I was like, damn, like I felt the whole switch. And this nigga, Bishop, which is played by Tupac, this nigga, they're all thinking about robbing the little corner store that they're always by the corner store. So they think about robbing it. And this nigga Bishop literally shoots Raheem. And this was the same night that Q had his little DJ thing. Remember I told you Omar Epps had his little DJ thing or whatever. And man, it's crazy because it's like these niggas went, Bishop killed their friend. They try to go back to the DJ thing, act like it didn't happen. The police come so fast. And then one by one, Bishop, Tupac's character, decides to like basically try to kill all of his friends. It's the craziest switch I ever seen in the movie. I was like, bro, this nigga crazy. That's what I was thinking the whole time, bro. And it's funny because I remember seeing the Boondocks episode with the little I mess with cigarettes thing. The episode with the little fat Lamilton dude, which is actually freaking based on a real current event of a little boy that really did steal his grandma's car and everything. They literally took that real life event in the Boondocks, and then they took Juice, and then they took the Halloween movie and mixed them all together. That's why Boondocks is so damn good, bro. They would mix all this stuff together and would make every episode feel like a little movie, bro. I'm so sad that Pops is dead. Rest in peace to John Witherspoon, and I'm so sad that we ain't gonna get a Boondocks reboot. Cause man, Boondocks was going crazy. I freaking love Boondocks, bro. I used to be obsessed with it when I was like, I want to say 16, 17. But I had seen that episode before I had seen Juice. So when I seen Juice, I was like, this reminds me of that one episode of Boondocks. And I was like, oh, this is where they got it from. But yeah, man, this movie crazy, man. It was just Bishop's whole change in character. But he was already kind of on the edge. And his dad was kind of special or whatever. I think he got molested or essayed in jail or something. But his dad was kind of on the edge. So Bishop was just waiting for something to push him, to the edge. And then that one Mexican gang member dude, he ends up killing him, and he ends up noticing that, his homies don't help him. He sees Bishop and still they don't help him. They look at him, kind of give him a look, and they just run away, so yeah. How many kills did Bishop? Bishop killed the dude at the store, right? Didn't he kill him? Yeah, he killed the dude at the store. He killed Raheem. He killed the Mexican dude. He shot Steel, but Steel didn't die. And he tried to kill Q. And that was the best part of the movie. The best part of the movie is when Bishop had a gun and he was chasing Q around the freaking city. And, they jumping on rooftops and doing all this. Like, it was really like a horror movie, but it felt kind of like a superhero movie, too. And this is what I like about black movies, man. And mostly hood movies in general, is because they would take elements from different movies and, like, make, like, their own genre of a movie. Because this movie really felt like a classic teenage story. Then it felt like a horror movie. Then it felt like a superhero movie. Like, I like that, like, blend that the movie had. But, man, spoilers with Bishop, he ends up dying or whatever. And then there's this kid, and he ends up falling off the roofs. And everybody saw it because, they were running around the whole city. They was running in the elevators, running through parties. And, Bishop was trying to shoot Q the whole time. And then everybody's on the freaking rooftop. And then they see Q, and he's just about to walk, through the door on the rooftop. And then one of the little light-skinned dudes is like, hey, man, you got the juice now. I'm like, boy, if you don't get your ass. But nah, man. He even tried to save Bishop. That's what's crazy. Bishop is evil as hell, but you don't want to see your friend die, even when your friend on some crazy stuff, But yeah, so it's crazy. I always felt like they could have made a part 2 to that movie too. I ain't gonna hold you. Like, just us seeing what Q goes through when he in college or something. But it's a classic though. A lot of people ain't gonna want to. A lot of people don't want to ruin the first movie by making like a horrible sequel. I mean, we seen How High 2 and freaking Drumline 2. Most people don't even know about Drumline 2. Or all the Disney sequels, bro, that nobody watches. Charlotte's Web 2. Nigga, who watched Charlotte's Web 2, nigga? Oh, don't even know that movie exists, bro. But that's my second favorite hood movie. 10 out of 10 movie. I don't care, bro. 10 out of 10 movie. Third one would be Fresh. Fresh is a really good movie. It has the little boy from the hood, and we're going to talk about the hood later because I love that movie too. But Fresh has Samuel L. Jackson in it. And he's the dad of the main kid little character. Now the main kid is hella intelligent. He's hella wise. He's hella smart. And he's only like, I want to say he's like 12 or 13. He's like in middle school. And basically he's like selling drugs and all this stuff to make some money or whatever. And he lives with like his multiple siblings, but his favorite sibling is his older sister, and they live like in one of those New York type apartments. And basically, he goes to the park and plays chess with his dad a lot. And he's still in middle school. He's running around and he sees a lot of crazy stuff when he's in the hood. And there's one part that is really hard to watch. Like, it's really hard to watch. Where they're at a basketball game, they're playing basketball, and this little girl gets shot, and Fresh looks her in the eyes, and, she dies. That was dark. That was one of the darkest scenes. Like, nobody want to see a little black girl get shot. Like, that mess is, like, depressing when I saw that. I was like, damn. That was another movie, too. Fresh was another movie on YouTube that was on YouTube, like, 5 years ago that I watched, man. And most of the movies, like I said, I watched on YouTube before they took them down. But Fresh was another one, and it's a really good movie. He's so smart. The movie tells you he's so smart because he turns on all the drug dealers and gets some of them killed and then gets some of them sent to prison. He's so freaking intelligent. It's actually mind blowing. And he's trying to keep it all together. Throughout the movie, he's trying to show no emotion and he's trying to stay calm, cool, and collected because you got to be like that in the hood when you're a little black boy. And it's crazy because before I say this, I forgot one part. He basically goes to school. He has this like Mexican friend who's like kind of slow. I could tell he's supposed to be like slow. He always talking about I got the dope moves, whatever. He literally ends up getting him shot because he just kind of ditches him. He gets shot, and the kids at the school get mad because they know that he ditched him. It's crazy, and it's crazy because these kids are acting like grown adults, man. And then there was another part of the movie that was hard to watch, where bro literally shoots his dog. Like, he literally kills his dog, which is crazy to me. He shot and killed his own dog. But he did that on purpose to make himself be emotionless. So he wouldn't, break under pressure to try to trick all the different, drug lords in the city, that he's working for. But it's an extremely good movie, a really classic movie that a lot of people don't really talk about. A couple of people on Black YouTube talk about it, but a lot of people don't talk about it. But Fresh is a good movie. And then it's crazy because at the end of the movie, he ends up having all this money. He doesn't get caught. He ends up helping his older sister because he freaking loves his older sister. And then his dad, him and his dad have a chess game at the end, Samuel L. Jackson. And he's crying and he can't hold it in no more because he's so freaking emotional. Really freaking good movie, bro. I would give Fresh a 10 out of 10, bro. Honestly. Really good movie. What's another one? Now, this one is a newer hood movie, but I like it. It's called Dope. And it has, I want to say, I'm not sure, but I want to say the main character, he's a black boy, and I think he's the same voice actor that does Miles Morales. I could be wrong, but his voice sounds exactly like him. I think it's him, but I'm not sure. Because, his voice sounds so similar, it's crazy. But Dope is basically it's like a 2000, and I want to say it came out in 2017 or something like that. I remember watching this one when I was a little older, maybe like 20, 21. And in Dope, what happens is basically we have a main character. He's a black boy. He's dark skinned, but he's like a super nerd. He hangs out with this little light skinned stud girl, and he hangs out with this like Egyptian boy or Indian. I think he's Egyptian, and he says nigga. And basically, they're like these three kids that really like each other. They're like outcasts, but they're like obsessed with the 80s and 90s. So they listen to a lot of 80s, 90s rap. And they kind of dress kind of hipster-like, but they go to school in a hood school. And it even has one of my favorite actors in it, my boy who plays as Darius in Atlanta. Freaking love that nigga, bro. He needs to be in more stuff. He has some stuff I need to watch, though. Like, he was in the Haunted Mansion, and I think he has his own show. I need to watch it, but I haven't watched it yet. But I remember seeing something, I remember seeing an ad of it, you know what I'm saying? But this movie basically has our main character. He's the little dark-skinned black boy. And basically this one's pretty similar to Juice, where he's just running around the city the whole time. It's a fun movie, and it shows you, it gives you a look into how the hood is. Because like when he rides his bike down the street, it's like he has to be very cautious because he's around like multiple different gang members. Every single corner has a different group of gang members that chill on the corner. And one of the ones that he meets is A$AP Rocky. A$AP Rocky really has a crush on this light-skinned chick. So he sends our little black boy to go talk to the light-skinned chick. The black boy gets obsessed with the light skinned chick. She, for some reason, she's like 20, but she likes him for some reason. I don't know. The movie's trying to trick us into thinking girls really like sweet little black dudes, which is BS. But he's like super like kind to her, and he's like talking to her, and he's like, yeah, ASAP Rocky wants you to come talk to him or whatever. And she's like, well, tell him he needs to be a man and come here and talk to me. So he eventually goes and talks to her or whatever. But ASAP Rocky is supposed to be like a hood nigga. And then our main character is supposed to be just like kind of a goofy dude who lives in the hood. He's a black boy that lives in the hood, but he's not a hood nigga. He's clearly supposed to be a nerdy, intelligent, articulate black boy who's obsessed with hip hop. Kind of low key reminds me of myself a little bit. Because I used to be, when I was in high school, I used to listen to music all day too. And the new generation still does that. Like my sister does it, the kids at my job do it. It's like, but that's one part that happens. There's another part in the movie where basically A$AP Rocky gets sent to jail. They end up having his drugs, I believe. Yeah, his drugs. They end up running around the city. They're like running from these other hood people. These other people are chasing them. They end up going to this like producer's house. His freaking sister is like she's a whore basically, and she runs around naked all the time, and she tries to mess with our main character boy, and he's kind of into it, but she throws up on him, and she pisses outside, and they're constantly running from these hood people, and it's a really fun movie to watch. I'm trying to remember it. Y'all give me a second, because I haven't watched it in a minute. I watched like half of it. I want to say like a couple months ago, but I can't remember the whole thing. Y'all give me a second. So I'm trying to remember what happens in like the middle of the movie. Oh yeah, it's kind of funny too because bro masturbates to the light skinned chick I told y'all about. That mess is hilarious. I think there's 2 scenes of that in the movie. I think he does it twice. But basically he's like running away from these Bloods too. There's these Bloods that are at his school that keep punking him. And the leader of the Bloods is our boy Darius from freaking Atlanta. I always forget his name. Lakeith Stanfield, I think. Is that his name? It's something like that. It's like, I think it's Lakeith Stanfield. I think that's his name. Y'all can correct me on that. But he's literally one of my favorite actors. But I'm trash at remembering names. But he's like the leader of the Bloods at his school. He always getting his Jordans stolen. Which I'm like, bro, after like the second time I get my Jordans stolen, I'm either fighting the nigga or I'm just going to wear slides to school. Like, nigga, I'm not about to be wearing no Jordans for you just steal my Jordans all the time, bro. Like, hell nah. But the movie also tells you that they're super nerds because the main characters, the little stud light skin, the dark skinned black dude, and the Egyptian dude, they all have like a little band. It's kind of like a Tyler the Creator, Earl Sweatshirts, Odd Future kind of band, Yeah, but they're all like really smart kids. They hang out with this white dude. He really wants to say nigga for some reason because everybody wants to say it and is obsessed with it. The stud chick slaps him. It's pretty funny. I'm just giving y'all a rundown of the things I can remember from this movie. But it's a really good movie. If I remember, he ends up getting the light-skinned chick at the end, which is pretty cool. It's one of my favorites, I ain't gonna lie. I really like it even though I can't remember it. It's still one of my favorites that I enjoy watching. I need to get the DVD of it, I ain't gonna lie. Because the other ones I remember, but that one is like, I'm fuzzy when it comes to like the last like 30 minutes of the movie. Yeah, but that one's a good one. I would give that one 10 out of 10 too, even though I can't remember the whole thing. That's a good ass movie. What else? I'm just going off the top of my head. What else, bro? What else? The Wood, bro. I love The Wood. This is another movie that I watched on YouTube like 10 years ago, bro. And I love this movie because this movie is just the perfect example of like a growing up story, just a story about teenagers and them growing up. And, it kind of tells you the whole story about how every dude wants to get him a girl and wants to have sex with him. And, the whole joke of the name of the movie is The Wood, which is basically, keyword for boner. And the movie that's literally what it's about. It's literally about 3 different dudes. They're in high school. There's one that moves to where they live, and all 3 of them become best friends. And they constantly have this they have crushes on chicks, but they also have like these bets on who's gonna have sex first. And then it's also doing another story simultaneously when they're adults, because the story that we're getting with them being kids is them telling the story to the audience. And one of them is like acting drunk and high, and he's running around. He don't know if he want to get married or not. But basically that's how it is. It's like the movie keeps flip flopping from them being kids to them being adults because one of them is supposed to be getting married and they're looking for him. This is literally one of my favorite hood movies of all time too. It's such a good movie, and it has a chill vibe through it, and nothing really happens. It's mostly just basically how it is when you're in the hood and you're a teenager. It's like they always want to get freaky with chicks. There's a scene where one of the boys bets the black boy, the one that's a new kid, he bets him to touch a girl's ass for $1. He does it. Her hood nigga blood boyfriend comes and fights him. He punches him one time and then he beats his ass. He really likes the girl. He ends up sneaking into her house, and she at first doesn't like him, but slowly starts to like him because she understands that he's just a stupid boy, like we all